One thing is that this community is connected to the universities. They're also connected to large corporations. There are corporate care plans for their executives, which I've been trying to work with in some of them. And if you can convince the executives that if you put a person on a plan, similar to medical engineering plan, right, where you're working on aging, but you're also working on optimizing this person, they're going to be sick less, you're going to get many more years out of them, and their cognitive abilities will be better. That's worth a lot to these corporations. And if you can get them to understand that, you're going to push this forward, because then they're going to be like, oh, wow, their team's working really, really well, right? What are they doing? And so I think that's the way you can get it going, because you're going to have real time and real people functioning better in a very short period of time. Because in my clinic, I noticed within about 1 year, you notice massive changes in how a person's functioning. Not just on the data, just in 1 year. It takes about a year, though.
It's interesting. We spoke very briefly about the marriage between sustainability and longevity, and I met two great people, Elliot and Anne, post that conversation. And I often reference the green movement in terms of collaboration, but also diversity and inclusion. So the green movement in the 70s and 80s, it had radical people, it had people out on boats, it had politicians, it had business people, educators, and it transformed global perception. Now, it's an easier task, and this is a psychologically extremely difficult challenge. But I think it's a complex marriage of collaboration, like you say, which is, the problem is so complicated, it requires collaboration at a global level. But also you need to have a range of different types of voices, from the heretical and the radical, to the conservative, to the businessman, to the politician, businesswoman, all need to be included.
And but in a way, like your question about how can we cooperate is pretty much at the foundation for everything we do at Genesima. It's on one side, it's the question of, like in the magazine, we're bringing together experts to share their opinion, or not just their opinion, but like the latest research, tips, etc., in order to let consumers, women's, in my case, like women's health, aging, longevity, that is our focus, to let them know what they can do. And we need to create an awareness, and we need to create a demand for basically product services for research. So this is what we are doing with the magazine.
Nowadays, I must say, you witness a lot of commercial interest in longevity. People want to see the drug at the end of the pipeline. And the activity like ours, the completely non-profit educational grassroots building activity is a bit neglected in terms of support, in terms of even people's interest and involvement. But I think this activity is very important. And I hope our non-profit associations of the kind that I represent also grow, because actually we do bring results. I can tell you about it a bit later. But here in Israel, through our activism, through our advocacy, we're able to bring about $20 million of grants for the aging field in Israel, basically with zero investment on our side, on the side of the nonprofit. So that's a big bang for the buck that we can produce through nonprofit activism, and I hope we have more support.
And in the topic, my perspective is to analyze two elements I consider it important. Is what happened in some ton of countries, as Europe, United States, and what happened with the developed countries. I am a Chilean working in a university, I'm engineer. And here, I have been working from the innovation perspective to use this concept to the working with the hospitals and system of public health systems to introduce in the perspective of innovation policy, the idea of the topic of innovation in longevity. This is, I think, is one possibility to promote, to introduce some service, public service, specific in the country with the fund in research and innovation is not high. And this is make the possibility to the entrepreneur people and the researchers to take the possibility to enter in the perspective to develop some innovations in longevity anti-aging ideas.